Hi, welcome back to Interviewing Hollywood with me, your host, Shahid Manning. We have an insider, one of the VPs who you love to hate because they don't cast you when you're gay. But he has some excellent insight. I mean, the reality is the reality. And who we have here is Tim McNeal, VP of Talent, and correct me if I'm wrong, Talent Development and Diversity at Disney and ABC TV. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Tim, welcome to the show, Interviewing Hollywood with me, Shahid Manning, your host.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
So you made some very interesting points. Your perspective is very interesting from the inside. I'm an LGBT. I'm a gay man, and I come to town, and everybody wants me to be the Denzel and this kind of thing because of the way I look and such. But that's not what I want to do. You know, I want to do what's apparently being shunned by everybody in Hollywood. And so I came to the same conclusion everybody else did here tonight, that you have to kind of sort of do your own thing, and that's what we're going to be doing. But for you, on the inside, casting people on the inside, knowing, I'm sorry, are you a gay man?
I am.
A gay man. Is there I mean, I know we talked about it, but talk about the hypocrisy of, you know, what the inside man, you know, coming from the perspective of talent agent and hiring people to be on shows and not hiring them because they're gay in the industry, being gay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you had a really good perspective on this is the way it is what I have to do for my job. I think that's kind of sort of what I heard.
Well, you know, actually, you have to back it up a little bit because from a performer's standpoint, by the time it gets to the performer, the character is already created. So either you fit the suit or you don't. But it really, especially in television, it starts from the creative point of the writer. And, you know, and that's the area that I've worked in my entire career, first representing writers as an agent and then being a development executive. So the real challenge for our community is how do we get to a place where we're in the room to be at the table to have the discussion about what characters are being created and what those storylines are going to be, and how do we represent in an authentic way how those characters are portrayed, so that when you as an actor come to audition, that you have material that is authentic and represents who you are. Right.
Well, it's one thing to kind of, because what we're basically saying now is do your own thing, because that way you'll be in the room. You know, you'll be able to have those kind of characters developed for you. But now let's talk about, you have gay actors and them being shunned because of their sexuality. Not necessarily they can't play that role, but you know that they're gay and suddenly they're not welcome in the room. Particularly for black men. I mean, you know, this is a different issue for us.
Well, you know, this is a business about creating fantasy, creating images, and unless the character was created, conceived to be a gay black man, if a gay black man comes into audition for a role and they don't carry that characterization, they're not going to get cast. You know, it's acting. So if you're a gay man and you come in to audition for a role that doesn't specifically say that it's for a gay character, then you're probably not going to get cast for it. And even if you come in for a role that was written for a gay man, you know, just like, you know, it still goes on when, you know, a black actor comes in and they say, can you do that a little blacker, a little more urban? You know, that same thing happens for these gay roles, and a lot of times gay actors don't want to do that. They don't want to sass it up, and they shouldn't. But you know,
that's the way the character was written. That's what you're saying.
That's the image that whoever created that character, that's what they want to see. And when people talk about you got to go do it yourself, you pretty much do. I mean, you know, and you know, for you know, black creative voices that, you know, realize that the voice that they want to tell, the characters that they want to tell, are not what network television wants to portray, or even cable wants to portray, then you do got to go do it yourself, because, you know, these big companies are in a business to supply programming to an audience that they've already developed.
And
your voice doesn't speak to that, then you're not in the right place.
So what about doing it yourself? So you do it yourself, and now you want to market these things to different networks. Does it just fall down the same shaft that you just described? If you don't fit our, if you don't fit our viewership, therefore we can't use this? Or is it just, I don't want it to be expanded because I think someone made a comment about white men are in the room creating these things and they are shutting you out because they don't want to share the power?
Well, it's a longer conversation, but our challenge is a lot of times we're not willing to invest the time and learn how the system works to get to a point where the network wants to hear our voice, wants to hear what we have to develop. And the whole television business, it's a very established system. So if you want to write in television, you got to learn how to write someone else's voice first. If you figure that out and you get in and you master writing someone else's voice and you become good at it, you rise up in the ranks. You rise up in the ranks, then all of a sudden the network execs are saying, you know what, this person's got they've done a great job writing this voice. I wonder what their own voice is. And all of a sudden, they'll come and they'll knock on your door and they'll say, well, we want to hear what stories you've got because you've done such a good job on Grey's Anatomy or Brothers and Sisters or whatever show that you worked on.
But if you're an independent producer like we are, we're going to be producing quality gay film from our perspective, so it's not buffoonery or stereotype. So you've got product now, and we think, oh, we can go to Logo and here, we can go online and do our own thing. But with product in hand, how do you get to the networks such as yourself, or other than talking to you directly, how do you get to an individual like yourself to say, look, check this out, give it a chance, or not?
You got to know your audience first. And what we develop at ABC is not necessarily going to be right for Fox or CBS or the CW. So you have to know when you are going in to sell your product, you've got to know that
you're going to go to the network that you
tailored
think fits
towards that audience.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's sad news, but it's true. This man knows what he's talking about.
Well, it's not sad news in that there's still hope and there are opportunities, but you have to figure out how to play within the system to make it work for you. And then once you start to develop a power base, then you can tell the stories that you want to tell.
Sure.
But initially, you've got to learn how to tell the stories that they're buying.
Yeah, and we have a very unique playing field because it seems to be so woven. Like, okay, you're gay, you're black, you're trying to tell these stories. Who do you sell it to?
Right.
You can maybe make some money, but it may now rearrange your ideology so it's about giving, which is what life's about, and then everything else will come later.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Very much. Here's my card, which Interviewing Hollywood with me, Shahid Manning, your host. And feel free to look me up online and to give me a call if you're casting for anything in Disney. Needs a fine black man.
I'm going to look you up.
Do that. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Wow, excellent interviewee, Mr. McNeal, Mr. Tim McNeal. He really knows his stuff from the inside out, and that's kind of sort of what we wanted to get. We wanted to know what is really happening from the inside out at the big networks, and where can we, where are there synergies and things that we can work together? And I guess what we came up with is know your audience. Okay, guys, I think we have a couple more interviews. I'm excited. We're here at Flipping the Script at the WGA here in Los Angeles. Thank you for hanging with me here on Interviewing Hollywood with me, your host, Shahid Manning. We're going to get a couple more interviews, okay? Hang tight.